As the American would say, the elevator is not going all the way to the penthouse. Now in comes the matron, you can imagine the matron, here's me head, me arse is after me. And she goes up anyways, you see, and she goes up, she said, now well, you want to see the state of her. The uniform, it fits her like a glove, she's sticking out in 5 places. And she's talking through her nose because her mouth is worn out. And she goes over to Paddy Jones, she says, are you Paddy Jones? He says, I am. Well, says she, your wife is after giving birth to 2 beautiful baby boys weighing 5 ounces each. He says, didn't I tell you there was life in the old chimney yet? Well, says she, there might be life in the old chimney, but you'd want to get it clean, for the 2 of them are as black as the ace of spades. And you had, ladies and gentlemen, you had the man that came home. It wouldn't happen again. This man came, oh Jesus, another cowboy after arriving. How'd him, sir? Give him a bit, I don't know who he is he a local cowboy? Because I reckon Cavan is full of cowboys. And she's in, he has a feather, he must have caught a goose on the way or something. Jeez, look at that for a hat on him, and he has all medals on it, he must have been at war. He's very welcome, not at all. But it reminds me, ladies and gentlemen, of the story of, God bless us, the fella that came home to the house unexpectedly, and he went up to the bedroom and he found his wife in bed with one of his best friends. And he ran down and he got the guns, I did, and he ran up and he shot your man dead. And she sat up in the bed and she lit a fag, the wife. And she says, go on, she says, go on. Keep that up now, she says, and you won't have a friend left in this town. Paul, there's no one laughing at me. What's the story here? Fuckers, you couldn't be that bad after the game, are you? Huh? You're shy. Who said they're shy? Well, are you not shy at all? You have your bottle of punch in there with you. You're all right. No, it does remind me of the story, ladies and gentlemen, of the old couple that were sitting across from one another at the breakfast table, and they hadn't spoken in years. And she's chewing the end of a cornflakes box. And she looks at him, and she says, what will happen to you when I die? He says, I don't know, I'll probably be acquitted. And then you had a woman, she went into confession. Mary Kathleen. Do you remember the old, remember the old confessional boxes? I'd say none of you were ever at confession up around here in Cavan. But anyways, Mary Kathleen goes into confession and she said, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. She says, about 4 weeks since my last confession. He says, yes. He says, and what sin did you commit? She said, Father, I committed adultery. He says, it mightn't be too bad. Was it against your will? She said, no, Father, it was against the dresser. And she said, Father, to hear the delf rattling, it do your heart good. And then you had the young fella, 18 years of age, he went into confession. This young fella went into confession and he said, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. He said, it's 4 weeks since my last confession, since I was here before, Father. He says, I slept with a married woman. And the priest said, go on, tell me what happened. He said, nothing happened, Father, because I got the continental quilt and I got the blankets and I got a row of barbed wire and sheep wire. And I put it in between us in the bed. And the priest says, for your penance, he says, you'll eat a bale of hay. He said, what, Father? He said, for your penance, you'll eat a bale of hay. He said, Father, you must think I'm a horse. He said, no, but you're an ass. And you had the woman 103 that went into confession. Can you imagine a woman in 103 going into confession, never committed a sin in her life? Goes into confession, this poor woman anyways, and she has the false teeth in back to front. She nearly ate the head of herself. And she says, bless me, Father, for I have sinned, she says. I'm 103, she says, and I had sex. He says, what? She says, I'm 103 and I had sex. He said, sex at 103? Well, she says, it's about 80 years ago, but I love talking about it. Could you imagine that happening up around here? The 2 old women in the nursing home. 2 old women, ladies and gentlemen, they're in a nursing home. And they're gone a bit deaf. And if you're getting a bit deaf, you tend to shout at different people. You know, you're sort of like, Maggie, anyways, I'm Bridgie here in the nursing home. And Maggie says to Bridgie, she says, Bridgie. And Bridgie says, what? She says, you have a suppository in your ear. She says, what? She says, you have a suppository in your ear. Oh, says your one, thanks for telling me. She says, now I know where I put me hearing aid. How was there? There was a young Cavan. Do you mind me telling Cavan jokes? You don't give a Highland dancer, you know. You're enjoying yourself. Jeez, this is a great town. Tables out, there's no recession in this town at all. Tables out in the street and everyone having babies and having drinking and everything like that. Come on across, you're alright. Come on. I love the jeans. You wouldn't know whether you're on the inside trying to get out or on the outside trying to get in, but they're lovely. Absolutely gorgeous, God bless you. It reminds me of the young Cavan lad, ladies and gents. This young Cavan lad, he was making his first Holy Communion. And because he was making his first Holy Communion, he had to make the first confession. So the night before he makes his first confession, he decides anyways, to go to bed early, and he cannot sleep, and he comes down, and the father is down watching a match on the television, and the young fella says to the father, he says, Daddy, I cannot sleep. And the father says, what's wrong with you? He says, I'm making me first confession tomorrow, and I'm a bit nervous. And he says, what am I going to tell the priest tomorrow, Daddy? And the father had no time for the clergy. He says, I'll tell you what you tell the priest. Tell him you annoyed your mother, you used bad language on your sister, you stole a neighbour's bike, you drowned another neighbour's dog. That'll do the priest. He said, Daddy, will I tell him, he says, about the night that me and you went across the border, stole the articulated lorry, drove it back across the border, rammed it into the back of Super Value, or better known that night as Ramavan. And we stole 5,000 bottles of whiskey, 5,000 bottles of brandy, and 5,000 bottles of Bacardi. And the father says, son, he says, you tell him your sins, not your business. And there was a Cavan man went into a garden. Girls, you're welcome. Hello. The girl with the lovely high shoes. Hello. Hello. She won't even look at Christ, I'm telling you. I didn't think the match would have that much of an effect. And we've met people here, haven't we? We've a few. Where else are we from? Is it all Cavan? You're from Meath. There's a fella here from Meath, and who's with you? What? Is there some Donegal people? Jesus, someone start the car, because I'll never get out of here alive if there's Donegal people. I'm from Mayo, so I better get out of this place. But they're pretty quick. But actually, it reminds me, ladies and gentlemen, of the story about the Cavan fella that went into the guard station on a Saturday morning. And the guard had been out the night before, and he'd been drinking a fair bit. And this Cavan man goes in and he knocks on the hatch. And the guard opens it and he said, what do you want at this hour in the morning? He says, I want to report the loss of the wife's credit card. And he said, when did she lose it? About 18 months ago. 18 months ago. And he says, tell me, he says, is there any harm to ask you? He says, why didn't you report it until now? Well, he says, to tell you the truth, he says, the thief was spending less than the wife. And there was an American man, a French man, and a Cork man. They're in a pub in Killarney. No.